Discover how obstacles equal opportunities with world-renowned inspirational speaker Nick Vujicic. Here's your host, Vice President of U.S. Sales, Lori Truman.
Welcome to our keynote session. We have an incredible guest with us here today. All of us face obstacles, but it's a rare person who can turn what seems like a hardship into a superpower. Joining me in the studio today is none other than world-renowned speaker, New York Times bestselling author, and entrepreneur, Nick Vujicic. Persevering through life's challenges and discovering key principles along the way has enabled Nick to find his purpose and turn obstacles into opportunity. He is one of the most sought-after speakers in the world, and you're about to see why. I know you are going to be glued to your screens for this session. In fact, why don't we have some of you join us on the big screen as our live in-studio audience. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And now, please give a warm USANA welcome to Nick Vujicic.
Hello, everyone in USANA. I understand that some of you speak Spanish. Hola, buenos dias. Some of you speak French. Bonjour. German. Guten Morgen. If I said that right, it is awesome to be here. I love even just the title of USANA. And as I've learned, it's the Greek word for health. And as you look at me with no arms and no legs, I can't do the clap, but I can do a little happy dance. So if you want to do that happy dance with me right now, I just want to tell you I love you. Thank you so much for having me here, and I really hope to move you, motivate you in understanding the power of changing obstacles into opportunities. Now, we understand that that generally is in the stratosphere of thriving in life, right? When someone has the ability to have the mindset, the spirit, the heart, and the reframing of obstacles as opportunities, that is someone who could definitely say, I'm thriving in my life. But many of us, come on, I just want to say this. I want you to put your hand up if you agree on the emoji that the last 2 years you were not really thriving. You were figuring out how to be someone who is surviving. Give me a hands up. Was that you? Right. I see ya. I just want you to know that we're all in the same understanding that there are many times in life where it just doesn't make sense. It's beyond us. It's difficult to have a thing called forward thinking, which is trying to believe a life or a mode of operation of life given totally different circumstance and variations of an unexpected measure and magnitude that's unprecedented. Furthermore, we don't know how long the unknowns will be unknown for. Am I speaking to someone who knows exactly what I'm talking about? But you know, as a resilient company, we must understand that we are stronger together. That we not only will be a company and a team and a family here at USANA who's just surviving, but also thriving. And I want you to know that in my life, yes, as I've traveled as a first-class worldwide speaker, top speaker worldwide under age 40, the restrictions of 2020, let's say, and the curveballs of 2020 definitely brought us to an entire halt of what I do. What I love to do is go and speak to the world and do as much as I can to make people know that you're beautiful, that you're loved, and with the power of the attitude of gratitude, we all can reframe obstacles into opportunities and not just survive, but to thrive. And in January 2020, I actually started getting cancellations around the world because my contracts were international. I started watching world news. I have friends in 43 countries. And in January, we saw this coming, but whether you saw it coming or not, we had no idea that 2020 would be 2020. And I just want you to know that as a motivational speaker, we were one-dimensional in our business. And for 9 months, no one asked Nick Vujicic for a single speech. And I'm like, after being ready to go and actually saying no to, at our bigger stage, 30 invitations a day. It's quite a change. And I just want you to know that as the motivational speaker, I'm telling people to thrive. I'm telling people don't give up. But I also want you to know that Nick Vujicic is not superhuman. Nick Vujicic doesn't have superpowers. Nick Vujicic, though, has the foundation of the 5 areas of living life to its fullest that I had to work through. Everyone say work through. And I want you to know that as we work through these obstacles, we must understand that actually when you're not allergic to challenges, embracing that, just like failure is not a status, failure is my classroom. When you look at challenges, challenges build up your resilience. For instance, I can tell you right now that my parents, when they looked at me, they had no idea that I would have no arms, no legs. And when I was born, I said, surprise! Now, it was a challenge they didn't want. It was a challenge that was unexpected, of magnitude that was unprecedented. And the doctor said that, sorry, your son would not walk. And I want you to know, can we switch to the arm camera real quick? I want you to see this. I can walk. I can jump. I can swim. I can do many things with this little foot of mine. And no one had any clue that I'd be able to type 43 words a minute on a normal computer. And who would have thought that I, as a child going to elementary school, would ever talk about hope when I felt as a child I had none? You see, I looked at my life and I looked at my body and everyone else was different. And I thought, is there hope? My parents looked at me and they said, is my child going to walk? Is my child going to go to school? The doctor said I'm not going to walk. The doctor said I can't go to school. But little did they know that my parents would actually present me to the state education of Victoria and change the law of segregating special needs children. And I was the first disabled student to go into a mainstream school. You see, there is no such thing as impossible. And it's not about just the difference between possible and impossible. What we're unpackaging today of resilience and reframing obstacles as opportunities, there's a third word. It's possible, impossible, and right in the middle, probable. You see, based on how you see your challenges and your mindset and you understanding that your challenge only builds you up to be more resilient, how you see yourself, how you see your world around you, and what you think of those people that think of you, blah, blah, blah. And then there's a little voice in your head saying, blah, blah, blah. You're not good enough. You're a failure. You can't do this. Oh, we got COVID. You're never going to be successful. Come on. As a resilient people, USANA, this is the most incredible opportunity for your company. Do you understand that in the world, the greatest obstacles brought the greatest opportunities? Now, I'm very sorry for the world. I'm very sorry for, let me correctly word this. I'm very sorry for first of all, black and white. I'm so sorry for the people who've lost people. I'm so sorry for the people who've lost companies. I'm so sorry for the people who got fired. I'm so sorry for the bad things that happened in the last 18 months. I am. But you are uniquely positioned, USANA, in such a way that, look at this, there's no boundaries of us being able to live stream into your language and understanding that there are no barriers and that you are proving even to yourselves internally, We got this, baby. And look at all the people out there that are either already unemployed or looking at maybe leaving their current job for different variations. Well, I just want you to know that they're going to be looking for something. Usana, baby! You! They're looking for you! And I want you to know this is the greatest opportunity you have. And I'm so excited to help you unpackage. How do you process big challenges to not just survive, but then thrive? And I, as the motivational speaker, telling everyone, don't give up. I want you to know that, again, I'm not superhuman. I don't have a superpower, but I have my 5 areas of life that I live to my fullest and to the best of my ability in health, right? And I want you to know that, yes, I am resilient. You know I'm resilient because I've lived 38 years without arms and legs. And when I was, if you will, depressed, full of fear, isolated, scared of my future, it was because I couldn't see my life past what I could feel, what I could see, and what I could currently know at that time. Based on what I saw, based on what I felt, based on all these things, I concluded my future. I concluded I would never be independent. I concluded I'd never get married. I concluded I'd never be happy. I concluded I'd never have a job. I concluded I'm going to be a bully victim for the rest of my life. It sucked being me. Now, that's not to compare your suffering compared to mine. I tell children all the time, I believe it's worse being in a broken home than having no arms, no legs. You see, brokenness is brokenness, and broken pieces are broken pieces. And I'll never tell you that I understand your broken pieces. But I'll tell you, beautiful things can come from your broken pieces when you give your broken pieces a chance. And so many people could love on me. So many people could encourage me, right? Nick, you're beautiful. Don't worry. We love you. There's a greater plan for your life. Great. But then I go to school and I hear, eh. And I want you to know that in my life, I really had to understand the power of taking those negative thoughts out of my brain and replacing it with the truth. Oh, you're ugly. No, I'm not valued based on how I look. I'm beautiful just the way that I am. Oh, you're never going to be anybody. No, there is not another me. I'm fully irreplaceable. And when you shift those lies and fight them with the truth sets you free. And so for me, I want you to know the truth that you're beautiful. I want you to know that you're still here. And I want you to know that you're going to be resilient. And one day at a time, you're going to get through what you're going through. You see, because you don't just go through things, you grow through things. You like that? Give me a thumbs up. You don't just go through things, you grow through things. Yeah? And so when you understand that you're in a daily walk in your personal development, in becoming the resilient person to live life to its fullest, this is absolutely key. And so for me, I convinced myself of all these things. I'm not going to get married, blah, 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 blah. Would you now look at the screen? I want to introduce to you my wife, a photo of us. Her name is Kanae. She's half Japanese, half Mexican. We call that Japsican. It was love at first sight. I looked at her. She looked at me. I couldn't feel my legs. And we met and we fell in love. And 6 months later, we started dating. And we dated for 12 months and then engaged for 6 months. And then we got married in 2012. Our 10th anniversary is coming up February 2022. This is us on the beach. And we were so blessed in the last 9-ish years of marriage, 9+ years of marriage, to have these 4 beautiful children. Kiyoshi, who is currently 8 years old. Dayan, who is 6. And Olivia and Ellie, who are twin girls. Just letting you know, doesn't matter about your genetics of twin stuff, let me just tell you, Olivia and Ellie are identical twin girls. 1 out of 300 pregnancies, we learned, end up being where the embryo splits into two, and you get two. Man, was that a surprise that day. We are biologically done with expanding our beautiful family, but we are entertaining down the road in our life to foster or adopt and start an orphanage in Mexico. And I just want you to know, when we were raised, me and my home, we always remembered those that had less than us. And that's why me and my wife actually grew up in a very, very, very small town in the state of Michoacan in Mexico. And Viva la Mexico! And she is incredible. And we want to do an orphanage in Mexico because we understand the power of giving back in our in our 5 areas of life. You've got faith, you got family, right? You've got finance, you've got fitness, you've got fun, and I'll add a 6th one, friends. When you have those 6 factors of living a full life, I want you to know that in that, when you are true to yourself in those factors, that's when you become truly happy. I thought that I needed arms and legs to be happy. Now, do I have no limbs? It's true. Am I happy? Yes. Why? Because I realized that arms and legs itself doesn't make you happy. Can you agree with me there? Give me a thumbs up. True, right? So when you understand the power of understanding that when a circumstance changes, great. When it's in your control, great. If it's not in your control, then you need to then figure out how you're going to approach and deal and process the yuck without getting stuck. I don't want you to be yuck feeling. I don't want you to get stuck in the yuck. But sometimes you have to go through the yuck. How do you get unstuck? I'm going to give you right now 6 pointers in how you can get through the yuck and not get stuck, and to process, as we are all human beings, those emotions. I want you to know that 2020 for me was yuck. I want you to know that 2020, it was disgustingly yuck. I was sometimes angry. I was sometimes anxious. I was sometimes scared. I was sometimes overwhelmed. There were about 30 to 45 days where I basically wouldn't even talk to my wife. I didn't know how to process what is going on. And so we all know that feeling. But I want you to know that in that we all deal with these emotions. And that's the first thing I want to talk about right now. Point number 1 in changing obstacles into opportunities, Usana. Number 1 is learning how to intelligently and Usana-wise, healthily deal with your emotions, okay? So one of the greatest ways that I've been able to deal with my emotions, first of all, I don't want you to think that these pointers now make you now feel like, oh, if I just do this, then everything's perfect. No, but this is the basics of being a human being. Okay, for as long as you're a human being, you're going to feel. What's dangerous is when something bad happens and you don't feel. What's bad is when something good happens and you don't have that spring of joy anymore. That's when you're not alive on some levels, and you miss that. And I want you to know, I know how that feels. And I actually had to go, first of all, to a couple friends of mine that I could trust, and I would call once every 2 weeks, and they would check in with me, I would check in with them. And I realized how unprecedented the value is of true friendship. Well, no one knew any more than the other. No one felt any more positive than the other. And it wasn't just like we get on the phone and go, And it's not like we just went on the phone and said, oh my gosh, what's happening? And look at the news and blah, blah. No, we talked about, so what did your child do different this week? What did they learn? What was a cool highlight this week? And so when you have those friends who look out for you, we all have this subconscious fear of connecting with human beings. This should never have been called social distancing. This should have been called safe distancing. I think it's disgusting because we are human beings that are social. But I want you to know that in your social friendships, it's up to you. Your friends don't know what you're going through, what you're feeling, till you tell them. And surprisingly, when you tell them, they're like, oh, I'm not the only one. Yeah. Then that they're in gives the incredible value of friends talking to each other, friends understanding each other, friends growing together, friends knowing, checking up on each other. You know, when you know that you're not alone, there's only one way to actually use that, is to actually tell someone, hey, I want to talk to somebody. Can I talk to you? And then all of a sudden, you know you're not alone, because guess what? You're getting a text from someone asking, how you doing? You see, a lot of these choices to become resilient is you instigating someone. It was like me at school when I was getting bullied at school, right? You sometimes need to be a friend to get a friend. And you need true friendships. So how many true friends have you been to somebody else before you actually receive? Sometimes you need to plant something before you take back. And you don't plant to take back. You love because you love. But love breeds love. Kindness breeds kindness. You with me? And so when you look at all this, it's so important to though understand what you're feeling. So when I was 8 years old, I got depressed. I was depressed between ages 8 and 12. I was scared. I isolated myself. No one understood what I was going through. And I felt like I was a burden to my parents, so I might as well just kill myself. So at age 10, I tried to drown myself in my bathtub. And while I was in my bathtub trying to fill my lungs up with water, it's a scary thing trying to take your own life. And so the third time I tried to fill up my lungs with water, I was stopped by one thought. And it was the visual of my parents looking at my grave, crying, blaming themselves. And I didn't want that to happen. So at age 10, I decided I don't want to do that to them. Love saved me. At age 13, I was playing soccer, my favorite sport in the world. I can't play that well. I'm not the best goalkeeper, let me tell you. But let me say, I was on the field one day, and I hurt my little foot so bad that I couldn't walk for 3 weeks. And as I was in bed, horizontal, looking at the ceiling, I realized, I think I've got enough to be thankful for. And that was the shift of the attitude of gratitude. To understanding that I have a choice either to be angry for what I don't have or be thankful for what I do have. So processing your emotions through friends. I needed counseling last year as well, okay? I went through 10 hours of counseling. I hadn't gone through sequential counseling sessions. Now, my faith is Christianity. And so for me and my soul and my spirit, I needed a Christian, if you will, psychologist, okay? Dentists fix my teeth. Psychologists help my brain too, okay? And so processing those emotions and those wounds as scars, instead of me still licking the wounds of the 9 people that betrayed me in the last 20 years. And so I want you to know that processing that, maybe journaling, whatever it is to process those emotions, you need to face it and then don't get stuck in the yuck. Sure, sit on the couch, eat your potato chips, cry watching your series that you're watching online, whatever, dude. But get up and do something. You see, we sometimes sit at remember possible and impossible. Well, it's just not fair and it's not my fault and blah, blah, and I don't know what's going to happen, so I'm just going to sit here on the couch and eat potato chips. Well, let me tell you, it's probable you're going to sit there and never get anywhere unless you do something different. So what's your probable? Not your possible, not your impossible. What's your probable? It's based on how you see things. It's based on what frame of mindset you have. Having a champion mindset, right? You've heard that before here at USANA. Have a champion mindset. Champion mindsets still allow you to sit and binge, watch your show, and eat potato chips. But then, everyone say, but then, you get up, baby. You don't stay down, you get back up. So, process your emotions, number one. Number two, attitude of gratitude. You know, I nearly died in 2016. My dad did die in 2017. In 2019, I got a lawsuit threat, a fake article published about me, a grenade at my home, a spying drone, and I got kicked out of a bank. That was my 2019. And when you look at life, when it's that bad, what I had to do in the attitude of gratitude is not just be thankful for what I've got and what was going great. You go back to your last 5 crises. Is this the first crisis of your life? No. So I actually had to go back to my last 5 crises and think, okay, what could have been worse? So when I nearly died, guess what? I'm still here. When my dad died, I still got to say goodbye. When the grenade was found at my home, there was a pin in it. What could have been worse is my child picks it up and pulls the pin. Now, this is all real. I'm not exaggerating. I don't exaggerate. And so in my life, what do you do through that? You are still processing your emotions. You're still being thankful for what you have, and even how the bad days could have gone worse. That's exactly what I did. Then what did you do, Nick? Well, then the third thing I did was I started building up my A team to set goals, reset goals. Many people use the word pivot. I had to reset, baby, from the beginning. And so in that reset, it means that, man, there's more opportunity when you start from scratch. No joke. I was kicked out of a bank, and I just want you to know we're starting our own. They won't tell me why they don't want to do business with me, and so we're like, well, let's start our own bank. So you're talking to a guy that was a first-class motivational speaker who won't be traveling around the world as much as he did, and now obstacles are being kicked out of a bank. We're starting our own. Wherein we got to understand that we are not the tail, we're the head. And it's up to us to have not just survival thinking, but to reframe that obstacles equals opportunities. Could I have sued them? Sure. Am I a guy to go now sue somebody else? No. But am I now going to go ahead of them? Yeah, we will. Humbly. Humbly, not prideful and carrying a chip on their shoulder. I forgave them. If I don't forgive them, that doesn't change anything. It's me forgiving them for me. And as you process those short-term goals, mid-term goals, long-term goals, the third thing I want you to know here, real quick, is that you got to understand that when a ship sinks, you're on a life raft, if there's no landmarks around you, you can paddle all you want on your life raft, but if you don't see islands going there to there, you can't see your progress. Making short-term goals, 30 goals over the next 30 days is essential for you. Why? Because it builds you self-confidence for you to make the next call, 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 for you to make the next letter, for you to get up and then tag that. Well, what about this? What if I reframe this? Maybe I should make a call to somebody. I want you to know I didn't wake up one day just to be the #1 speaker under age 40 worldwide. No, I actually called 53 schools before one school said yes. I got to know, I got to know, I got to know, I got to know. And every time I got to know, I got better and better and better. I want you to know I know how it feels to get the no's. I know how it feels to feel like a failure. But when you make those short-term goals, mid-term goals, long-term goals, okay, cross them off when they come to pass. And that's how you have that self-confidence build-up. Also in your goals, before we go to the next one, is make sure that you have a purpose-driven goal or a thread. When I was going through hell at age 15, it felt like hell. I actually put up a photo of an orphan on my mirror that every time I went up to the mirror and looked at my nose to see if I got a pimple to squeeze, I saw that orphan in Africa smiling at me, knowing that one day, because my parents were refugees, one day I'm going to sponsor a refugee. One day I'm going to sponsor an orphan. And no matter what I'm going through today, I know that I'm going to get a day closer to changing someone's life. What about you? Some of you are killing it. And some of you are happy at 50 grand a month. Some of you are happy at 100 grand a month. And you don't feel that drive anymore. Well, I want you to know, let's push. Set your goal a little higher and maybe, just maybe, mentor a foster kid aging out of the foster care system and help them learn financial literacy. Help them find their apartment. Help them come underneath the beautiful family of USANA. You see, maybe that's the extra jet fuel you need. When times get tough, the tough get going. Yes? So when you understand all of this, the short-term goals, long-term goals, and you make a thread of purpose giving back, I want you to know that's actually one of the greatest cures of depression. You understanding that when the world says you're not good enough, get a second opinion. And then greatest way to get out of depression is you being that second opinion for someone else who hates their life. You see, I never got a miracle. I still have no arms, no legs. But when you don't get a miracle, you can still be one. Point number 4, okay? Write down the last bad day that you went through, crisis, failure. Write down the 3 things that you learned from that crisis tonight or tomorrow, okay? Then think about it for 30 minutes and write down lessons, not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You want to know why? Because the lesson that you might be needing today doesn't come from Nick Vujicic. It comes from already the lessons you've already learned. You just forgot. Or you just haven't had the time to go back and actually learn lessons 4, 5, 6, one of which may be the X factor, game-changing factor of today. Are you with me? That's how you change obstacles into opportunities, okay? That's number 4. Number 5, failure is my classroom. Who do you know hasn't failed? We've all failed. Have we not all failed? I want you to know that that's the truth. Failure is a process. It's not a stature. Failure is your classroom. How many times have I failed? A lot. I got up there and I started speaking and my palms were sweaty, my knees were shaking. I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't think I was a good speaker at all. But I said yes, 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 yes to every opportunity that would come my way. And in fact, the first 500 speeches, I charged the hard a dime. Now, I've been on television to 1 billion people in China, 1 billion people outside of China. We have a nonprofit organization, Life Without Limbs, for the faith-based. We've given over $1.6 million to the poor and needy. I'm a chief generosity officer of Uncommon Giving. I'm a co-founder of Unbound Warrior, a co-founder of Pro-Life Bank. the founder of Nick V Network, launching in the next 48 hours. I want you to know that I had a lot of obstacles, but those obstacles gave me a lot of opportunities. And I want you to know here at USANA, you're loved. Dream big and never give up. So if that was number 4 or 5, I don't remember now. Audience, are you listening out here in the studio? I want you to know, oh, we got 5. That was 5, right? Failure is my classroom. Awesome. I see ya. What I want you to know is number 6 is dream big and never give up. Dream big and never give up. I want you to know that this is so pinnacle. Let me tell you. USANA, I don't know who's the number 1 direct selling, social selling company in the world, okay? But I want you to know that you might be already number 1. Are you number 1 in the world? Or we want to aspire to be number 1? We all want to be number 1. So ready? We're number 5. Got it. So what I want you to know is this. Ready? Don't set your target to be number 1. Set your target to double number 1. You see, Zig Ziglar once said, aim your goals and dreams to the heavens, so if they miss, they're still up there with the stars. If you want to be in the tech business, right? Don't say, I want to be someone like Steve Jobs. No, I want to double Steve Jobs. That's when I'll know what's not just your possible, what's not your impossible, but what's your probable. And in your time management prioritization processes, one of the greatest things that's helped me to do 14 projects simultaneously with 17 employees is I've actually written out my calendar. Monday, Sunday, the hour I wake up, the hour I go to sleep. And I put in what's the first thing I do in the morning? What's the second thing I do in the morning? When do I go to sleep? When do I spend time with the kids? Weekly dates with my wife. Non-negotiable. What's your balance like? How do you get that balance? Can you fight for it? Yeah. Can you achieve it? Yeah. As long as you keep on fighting for it, you're close to perfect balance. Now, there are some seasons where you have to work your butt off. And there are some seasons where just the kids know daddy's just busy right now. But I want you to know that it's possible. You gotta, though, take time to give yourself that ability to see that, oh yeah, I want to write a book one day, for example. Do you know how much you could do if you have a dream and you set aside 1 hour each Saturday or Sunday, depending on when your Sabbath is, if you have a Sabbath, understanding 1 hour a week towards a goal that you don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but it's in you. 1 hour a week, you could do a lot. 1 hour a week, you could do a ton. Setting aside a couple hours, same rhythm, for the people who are with you. Asking them, hey, how are you doing? Nothing to do with profits, nothing to do with the next event, nothing to do with next effort. How are you doing? Letting them feel like they're a part of your family. That's the USANA family. It's you bringing in sisters and brothers who feel like you care. There's only one way that people with you feel like you care is when you actually care. Then you set aside a couple hours a week to go after it, baby. Go after it. Call, 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 call. Hear the no, 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 no. Get better and better and better and better. Remember, failure is your classroom. So I want you to know that dreams come true. USANA, you could double number 1. You can. With the way the technology is, I don't think we've seen anything yet what USANA can actually do. with the understanding of the greatest crisis possibly being your greatest opportunity, I'm actually excited for you. I'm excited for you. And I'm excited and honored and thankful to be here. Can I just tell you one thing? I love you. I believe in you. If you have lost that joy in your Monday to Sunday, how do you feed your spirit if you have faith in your life? How do you feed your spring of joy with family? How do you feed your spring of joy through friends? How do you feed your spring of health with fitness, with fun? Put it in. You see, when you run as fast as I do and you get 180 text messages probably in the last 2 hours, you got to make sure that you're true to yourself. And if you're not true to yourself and you don't learn how to delegate and scale on our level, you're going to miss the whole point. You know what the whole point is? You're to be faith-filled, family-filled, friends-filled, fun-filled, and happy, doing what you can, doing your finance, doing your best with that, doing your best with your finance, your friends. What was the other one? Fitness. When you do your best, that's all you can ask yourself of, right? So do your best and keep going, and the rest will follow suit. Usana, thank you so much for having me. God bless you all. And I'm so looking forward to now this interaction of our Q&A, approximately 17 to 20 minutes. Give me a heart if you loved it. Love you so much. Here's Lori.
How great was that? Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Can I have a hug?
You can have a hug.
Love you.
Love you. Thank you so much. And I love this screen and seeing all the hearts up there. So what a treat to learn from you today. I'm sure our associates are brimming with questions. As a reminder, you can join our live chat to ask Nick a question. Simply submit a question via the live chat feature, and we'll get through as many as we can fit in. Before we get to those questions, you've already accomplished so much in your life. What is the next big adventure that you're about to tackle?
I love it. So I actually, which camera? Here we go. I actually feel that this is the best decade of my life coming up, 38 years of age, father of 4, to where I'm home. I love being home. And so Pro-Life Bank on a fintech level may be open in 6 to 7 months. This is the first time we're actually saying this publicly. We're really excited about the bank. We're giving away half net profits to aligned, value-aligned nonprofit organizations we believe in. I found out that my bank also gives to things philanthropically that I actually don't believe in. And so we wanted to do that. So we actually call ourselves Pro-Life Bank, and we're really excited about it. And then nickv.network. Actually, my team's literally coding the last tweaks. We've actually been able to have partners that have decompressed video data 10 to 1 and be able to do things like this in 78 languages simultaneously. And so to reach the world, 85% of my global reach, including America, doesn't speak English. And so we're doing a TV talk show called Table Talk with Nick Vujicic, and it's going to be on nickv.network.
That's amazing.
Oh.
That's incredible.
It is.
Listen to everything that you have coming up. That is fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, let's roll some of the questions that we have from the audience. Our first question is from Crystal in San Antonio, Texas.
Hi, Nick. My name is Crystal. I'm in San Antonio, Texas. Thank you so much for taking my question. So my question for you is, what mindset shift has given you the biggest breakthrough in your life? And what advice do you have for entrepreneurs like ourselves to have our own personal breakthrough?
Oh, thank you so much for the question. I love that we could do this. First of all, temporary things can only give you temporary highs. And so money, drugs, sex, alcohol, pornography, fame, and fortune, and even success in the ideology of what you think you're going to feel when you get to that goal is an ideology in itself. Now, can money help? Yes. It changes lives, and it'll change your life. But it itself, without the holistic point of life as entrepreneurs, we need to slow down as visionary entrepreneurs. Make sure, I think the biggest one is fighting for balance. I think that's the number one priority as we go from stride to stride. And be thankful. I think many of us entrepreneurs who are visionary, as soon as we achieve a midterm goal, we're already waiting for the next midterm goal. No, celebrate those goals along the way.
Great advice. Great advice. All right, Juan from Mexico has our next question.
Hi guys, my name is Juan Luis Rangel and I'm from Mexico. And my question is for Nick Vujicic. And is, how do you overcome the fear of what people might think or say about you? Thanks.
One of the greatest ways in reassuring that you have a self-esteem that's not threatened by other people's opinion of you, you need to maybe even journal and write down your gifts that you know you have. Write down your talents and the assets that you do have. Maybe the character traits. You're courageous. Your personality. A lot of the USANA needs is going to be a people business. And so when you have your skill and you do those short-term goals, that self-confidence will grow and grow and grow. And as you actually do those short-term success goals, and as you succeed in them, you cross it off. We call that success marks, like landmarks. And so that despite what they think, despite what they say, I think what you got to understand is they got the problem, not you. And when you see progress and you help yourself, self-motivation that way, I think that's a wonderful way to eliminate that. And maybe how you give back. Go to a homeless person, give them a meal, support an orphan. Me and my wife, we actually sponsored 13 orphans already. And so we see the joy as well, the reminding of the epicenter of giving back. And no matter what the world says, oh, you're not good enough, you're not going to change the world. Well, I changed one person's world today. That's what I do.
So cool. So cool. All right, here's a question from Stéphane from Canada.
Awesome.
Bonjour, ma question serait pour Nick. Alors tout d'abord, j'aimerais dire que Nick, tu es une grande inspiration pour moi. Alors ça fait longtemps que je te suis, puis je t'en remercie, j'en suis très reconnaissant tout ce que tu nous donnes en inspiration et en motivation. Alors ma question serait celle-ci. Alors Nick, est-ce que tu as toujours confiance en toi? Et si oui, est-ce que tu aurais des astuces ou des choses qu'on peut mettre en branle afin de pouvoir rehausser notre confiance en soi quand elle est plus basse? Alors, je te remercie et puis j'ai hâte d'entendre ta réponse.
Merci beaucoup. Love you so much. Thank you for that question. This is incredible. Look, for me, apart from what I just said, I think what's beautiful is also mentoring somebody else. If knowledge is king, which it is, we got to understand that when we feel like we don't have self-confidence, again, going back to the thread of purpose-driven and the sometimes crippling effect of success, that you get complacent, mentoring somebody else and teaching them what you know may be the very fuel you're missing. And so that spring of joy comes back, where if you set aside half an hour a week to speak into someone else's life, who's not even knowing about what's going on. It's not just the people currently around you, but find something of passion, like I was saying, a foster kid or a single mom or a single dad, and you would give a little bit more extra time for them, and really help them in some other way. I think that's a beautiful way to build up your self-confidence as well.
That's beautiful. There are so many people out there in need right now, and so being able to give back, I think, is such a great recommendation. So from Colombia, Ivana would like to know this.
Soy Ivana Talero de Colombia. Quiero preguntarte, ¿por qué las personas, a pesar de tener objetivos, metas, sueños y trabajan para lograrlo, al final unas tienen éxito y otras no? ¿Por qué crees que sucede esto? Y mi siguiente pregunta, ¿por qué los seres humanos, teniendo la conciencia de que debemos hacer cosas por nuestra salud, permitimos que cosas como la pereza sean más fuertes? Empezamos, pero al siguiente día encontramos la excusa perfecta para no continuar. Danos un consejo para que cumplamos todo lo que nos propongamos en la vida.
You know, I really believe that it's important. Thank you for your question. Gracias por tu pregunta. I want you to know that in my life, I think continuing to learn from others is where we get complacent. If we don't continue to read books, if we don't continue to be initiating our own research and freshness of motivation, there's so much on the internet that you can find that's inspiring. People studying them. Richard Branson was one of mine. You know, you look at his philanthropic creativity. I'm not endorsing him as a human being or all that or what he's doing, but let me tell you what I really loved about him and still love is how he understands that there's corruption in the world, how there's needy people in Africa. And so what he did was that he built a runway in the middle of Africa. He got his own plane full of 200 doctors, went to Africa, filled with 200 mobile clinics to go into the villages near that runway for 2 weeks. Those doctors, when they ran out of supplies in 2 weeks, they pack up, come back to the runway, and that plane comes back with 200 new doctors and medical supplies. That to me is ingenious. That to me helps me dream very, very big. And for me, there's two things that anything is possible just about. I'm never going to be a football star, never going to be a PGA golfer, never going to beat Novak Djokovic at tennis. But what I will say is my possible is possible, and that's what I want to do. And so for me, as I've traveled 74 countries, meeting 21 presidents, speaking in front of 10 governments, I want you to know that there are still 2 billion people pre-COVID who only survive on one handful of rice a day. So how do we help them? That's what drives me. I want to be a world changer. I want to change my country. I want to change my city. I want to change my street. And that's what continues to help me to keep on going.
Amazing. Amazing. Continuing to keep dreaming big. I love it. All right. This question is from Vanya in Mexico.
Hello, Nick. This is Vania from Mexico City. I would like to know, how do you overcome negative thoughts and beliefs and how you transform them into positive ones for you and people inspired by you? Thank you so much. You are such an inspiration. Bye.
Oh, thank you so much. Muchísimas gracias. Te quiero mucho. I just want you to know that for me, my faith is the first thing of the areas of my life. And in my faith in Christianity, I read the Holy Scriptures of the Bible, and it helps me to know that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made and that God loves me and He's got a plan for me. And that's the true personal answer that I can give you on that question. Secondly, my greatest, how would you say, champion is my wife. She's there, my family, my kids. And they ground me, they love me, they believe in me. And they've shown me the greatest keys of life. And that in itself, to me, is something irreplaceable.
Completely irreplaceable. Family is so important, and I love how you talk about family and faith and fitness and fun and friends. I think that's so important in our life. So thank you for reinforcing that message.
You're welcome.
So we also have some questions from the live chat. What is the best advice you could give a new associate or a new business partner who is struggling with accepting rejection, especially from people they admire or love?
Let me tell you, when I started calling 53 schools, I had no support or, yay, go Nick, from any of my loved ones. In fact, they discouraged me. In fact, they said, what are you doing? Nick, wait, you're 16, 17 years old. You're making a ton of money on the stock market. At 19, I made my first real estate deal. I did a double degree in accounting and financial planning and graduated at age 21. Being a speaker was not on the radar of my parents. In fact, they said, can you just stop distracting yourself and focus? And I was doing everything, but I really felt called to be a speaker. And so I want you to know, look, no matter who they are, when you knock on the door and the door don't open, don't let that change your love for them. That's the worst thing you could do. The greatest thing you can do is love them, forgive them, truly. Say, love you. It's all good. I understand. And go to the next one, guys. Get a note. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. It's harder to forgive those that kind of feel like they're not encouraging you, especially those who you actually want the greatest encouragement from. But trust me, I know how that feels. And it took years of me to try and do and become successful before my parents said, oh. And let me tell you, in USANA, even when you are becoming successful, and even when you get to 5 figures a month, I want you to know that still people are going to have doubts. Doubts about it, doubts about you, and blah, blah, blah. Guess what? Then we know what their probable is. And if they always have the doubts, it's probable they're not going to jump on board. So that's okay. Love them, encourage them, and keep going, baby.
Keep going, baby. I love it. Oh, this is a good one. Do you have a song or an audiobook you use to get through hard times?
Through hard times, I don't remember now the album and the artist now, but it's a Christian song. There were 3 or 4 Christian songs that I go back to always. There is my favorite album right now. It's Tell My Friends by United Pursuit and Will Reagan. Beautiful songs, and it's music is so spiritual. And when you align that spiritually, to me, it's amazing. Now, do I still listen to 1980s Bon Jovi sometimes? And Striper, Soldiers Under Command. Yeah, I do, baby. And do I have my techno moments? I mean, my wife actually makes fun of me sometimes on the most diversified playlist on planet Earth, let me tell you. But yeah, there are some songs that I always go back to. But if it's something that helps me to endure through difficult times, it's always been a spiritual song.
That's great. Very good. How do you know when you have found your purpose in life?
Again, that depends on what you believe purpose is in your life. And then the purpose of your life. Is it to exist? Is it to coexist? Is it to be here and do your best and that's it? Is it to be here, do good, and then know that you were good so that you knew you were good, so that everyone else knew you were good? Is there life after death? So that all comes back to faith, which comes back to purpose. And I just want you to know, though, that I would never discourage anybody from doing good. And I know people in life that for them, doing good is a purpose to them. Being that stay-at-home mom and motherhood itself is one of the greatest purposes you can ever have. The flexibility of USANA being able to do that for you is incredible. And so whatever that looks like for you, I think you'd have to search your own answer, because our answers may differ in some aspects. And I just want you to know I love you, though. And you're going to find that, I think, for you. So keep looking if you haven't found it, and I love you so much.
Nick, thank you.
You're welcome, Lori.
Thank you for inspiring our USANA family.
Yeah.
And joining us today and answering all of these great questions. We are so honored that you could be here with our USANA family today.
Thank you for having me. Cheers. Thank you.
Coming up next, the doctor is in and answering your questions live. Dr. Oz is back, and he's bringing a special guest, real estate mogul and star of Shark Tank, Barbara Corcoran. Stick around for the priceless tips from this entrepreneurial spirit. Thanks, everyone. See you in the next session.